Hello, I'm Alex, and today I will be arguing for allowing teachers and staff to carry concealed weapons on campus, but only in states that currently allow concealed carry. I will be supporting this with 4 major points. The first is that there are states that already allow this policy. My second is that the policy has been proven to be successful. The third point is that the policy acts as a deterrent to criminal activity, and finally, it's better to be safe than sorry. So, states that already allow this policy. A group called the Students for Concealed Carry started up in response to the Virginia Tech massacre, and since then has grown massively and gained a lot of backing. Rachel Wiseman says that as a result of the efforts of Students for Concealed Carry, such legislation was introduced in 15 states. So just by students alone, they have been able to gain the backing of 15 states. Clayton Kramer said that by 2012, guns were allowed on 200 public campuses in 6 states. That number appears certain to increase. In 2011 alone, bills to permit guns on campus were introduced in 23 state legislatures. So 4 years ago, legislation to allow guns on campus had been introduced in almost half the US states. So clearly there have been a lot of people supporting this and in favor of this direction. And even before shootings such as the recent Sandy Hook, the number of public campuses in the U.S. has in fact increased. Peter Wood says that Kansas says that colleges and universities cannot prohibit concealed carry unless a building has adequate security measures. So while this is a viable measure for safety, and essentially what this means is that you can carry a gun on campus, but you can't go into a building unless that has met their specific security criteria. And so while this is a good measure, it would save the university a lot of money to just allow staff to carry in those buildings rather than going through the trouble to safety-proof them. Peter Wood also says that in Arkansas, faculty are permitted to carry guns unless the government board of college explicitly prohibits this. And so here's another example of how they regulate this. And this is just showing that it's been successful, by the way. So there's another example of how they regulate it, and they're pretty much saying that only faculty with the right amount of training and that pass the right psychology tests are allowed to carry these weapons. So my third point, that the policy acts as a deterrent to criminal activity. The Students for Concealed Carry also says that virtually every peer-reviewed study on the subject, including studies by the National Academy of Sciences and the Harvard Injury Control Research Center, has concluded that there's no evidence that licensed concealed carry leads to an increase in either violent crime or gun deaths. So having this policy clearly doesn't hurt, and there show signs that it might actually be helping. While the odds of any particular victim on college campuses being armed and able to stop such an attack seems small, the risks of allowing concealed carry by those licensed to do so seem even smaller. Clayton Kramer again. This shows that there's a greater benefit to allow staff to defend themselves. Essentially, what he said was just the risk to allowing a gun on campus is less than pretty much the risk of not having it on campus. Among the more than 150 college campuses that currently allow concealed carry, there have been 3 accidental or negligent discharges, 2 by faculty and staff and 1 by a student. So with this, more people have actually been injured or killed in an attack without staff being armed than with staff that are allowed to carry as the result of an accident. Guns, like I said, act as a deterrent on campus. Criminals would be less likely to use guns or commit violent crimes if they had reason to believe that targeted citizens or others around them might also be armed and able to defend themselves. This shows that criminals who commit acts of violence don't always want to die, and if places like schools were better armed, criminals would turn away from it. This astonishing expansion of licensing began in 1987, has been accompanied by a dramatic decline in national murder rates, says Kramer. And this is a direct correlation showing that as they allow concealed carry, the amount of murders has gone down. So my final point, that's better to be safe than sorry, is that crime happens where we least expect it. So the SEC says that concealed handgun license holders carry guns in case danger finds them, but they had no reason to expect it. That's one of the major reasons why they carry. So therefore, staff and teachers should too, because while a school is considered a very safe place, it's very possible that danger is lurking close by. According to a U.S. Secret Service study into 37 school shootings, over half of the attacks were resolved and ended before law enforcement responded to the scene. In these cases, the attackers were stopped by faculty or fellow students, decided to stop shooting on his own or killed himself. So over half the attacks, an armed teacher would have been able to defend, and likely saving lives. Lastly, the statistics suggest that allowing concealed carry on campus won't hurt and in fact might help. Therefore, there's no legitimate reason not to allow it. Thank you.